Ash from SuperVideos back for another video for The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live. They just dropped a brand new trailer, a pretty awesome one. They called it the final trailer, so I'm assuming that we're not going to see any more trailers after this one. So there's some very interesting stuff revealed in this trailer. Some of it, a lot of people speculated, but we now know for sure Rick will lose a hand. It was in the trailer, it's not a spoiler anymore, but there are some other details that we're going to be taking a look at and breaking down in this video. Now, there are some things that are identical to the teasers and trailers that they've released, so we're not going to take a look at those scenes. We're just going to take a look at the new dialogue that's there or any brand new scene that's in this new trailer. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. First things first, let's look at the brand new key art or poster. It is absolutely fire. Literally, it's on fire. But obviously, it has a lot of the elements that we knew is gonna be in the poster. It has Rick, it has Michonne, it has the background being CRM or CR, I should say, and the helicopters of the CRM. So a lot of it is everything we've predicted, but we finally have the poster. But obviously, the title of The Ones Who Live is there as well. We can see it's also on fire. So that's the theme or look they're going with. But nothing more to break down. New series, February 25th on AMC and AMC Plus. Now, of course, it does not say limited series. So there is a good chance that we're going to see more seasons after this one. This is why I keep saying the first season, because I genuinely believe that they're going to give us more seasons. But with that, let's jump into the trailer. This trailer starts with this shot of a opening in the wall with a herd of walkers coming towards the opening. And of course, this is the location where the CRM's prisoners or workers go to clear the walkers. This is what they call the calling center. It's another one of those ones that we saw in World Beyond, where Silas was at. But we do see Rick is there. He's the lead for this mission to clear the walkers. He has the whole setup. And then we have this shot. We have all of the workers banging on the walls, a way to get ready or pump themselves up or something like that. They're all wearing the CRM jacket and the helmet. We do see Rick right there. Look at his left hand. It does not exist. So his hand is gone. This proves that Rick definitely loses his hand. I mean, I'm not a fan of that. I absolutely don't think it's needed, but they're giving it to us. So I'm gonna see how it goes and what happens. But to say that I'm a fan of them having Rick lose a hand, no. But am I intrigued? Absolutely. Now, there are more shots. We'll get through those in a second. Then we see this shot of Michonne, this pretty awesome shot. She has the whole kind of leather getup that she had when she cameoed at the end of The Walking Dead's original show. She has the katana. She's faced with a herd of walkers. There's fire in front of her. So I'm assuming that she used that weapon that she had that we saw in the other trailer to blow up a part of the herd, maybe to attract walkers towards that area, maybe to scatter them. And then we have this shot of her taking out her katana. She looks a little sad here. So obviously, she notices that it's a challenge to get to Rick through this herd. Then we see her looking at the boots. This is Rick's boots, obviously, that she found. And then we have this shot of her talking to someone, most likely the people that she found along the way. She says, I lost someone years ago. Now I'm looking for him. Obviously, referring to losing Rick and looking for him. And of course, years connects to the title of the first episode. So I wonder if this is in the first episode. And then we have this pretty fantastic shot, a wide shot of the city Philadelphia, which is going to be the main base for Civic Republic. Looks pretty awesome. Post-apocalyptic. looks great. I just hope that it's not a super awesome 1 second scene. And what I mean by that is a similar scene to what we saw in Dead City, because there were a bunch of times where we saw New York City, but it was like a few seconds, and we didn't really go inside the city itself. Not as much as we should have, but hopefully this is not like that, and we're gonna see a lot of cool shots like this, but also a lot of cool shots inside the city as well. We have this awesome shot of Rick looking up. Now we do see the CRM truck in the background with some prisoners also there. Rick is also wearing the CRM jacket, like the one he was wearing when he was clearing the walkers. And then he looks up, looks at the helicopter that's going. I wonder if this is where he kind of gets the idea that he should work his way up. Maybe he should try to climb the ranks of the CRM. And then we have this shot of Rick killing walkers in that calling center. Obviously, he has a hook in his hand, so his hand is gone. This 100% shows Rick does not have a hand. And then obviously he kills the walker that's there. Not much to break down. We have all of these walkers coming through. We have Rick here. We've seen this shot before, but the dialogue was new. He says, I have to keep trying. Obviously, referring to the fact that he's going to keep trying to get back to his family. So this proves that Rick does, in fact, try to get back. Something's happened that keeps him away and basically holds him back. We have this cool shot of Rick. Looks like he's been crying. He's sad. He says, I won't stop, referring to the fact that he won't stop looking for his family. It looks like he's in some sort of apartment. So maybe he is in his own apartment at the Civic Republic. Would be cool to see something like that. We see him looking at the iPhone with Michonne's face carved on it, like we saw before. But the dialogue is new. He says, I'm getting there. I'm getting home. Not much to break down, self explanatory. We have this cool shot of Michonne and the new survivor that she's with, the shorter guy. And then we have what appears to be a walker chained to some sort of wagon, pulling it for Michonne. So obviously, she's using the walker pet trick that she used to use before. So that's pretty awesome. We can see another shot of that same kind of scene right here. And then we have this freaking awesome shot of the Civic Republic in the background and one of CRM's bases near it. So obviously we see like a bunch of helicopters, a bunch of trucks, a bunch of military equipment. Looks freaking awesome. It just shows how equipped CRM really is. I am absolutely hyped to see more of CRM and what they're capable of. We have this shot, which we also saw in the other trailer that they released. We have a lot of the elite CRM soldiers or the special forces, and we have Major General Beale in front of them, and the soldiers say, Sir, yes, sir. Self explanatory. And obviously, everyone at this point has realized that the person in the second row is Rick. So Rick is going to be a CRM soldier, which is pretty awesome. Next to him is a new character named Pearl Thorne, who we're going to see in a little bit as well. But she is actually South African, which is cool just to see kind of different characters with different backgrounds in The Walking Dead, so that's cool. And then we have this shot of Major General Beale looking at his special forces, which is awesome. We have this shot of Rick and Major General Beale sitting on a bench at the Civic Republic, looking at Philadelphia. We have Rick saying, Why do you even think I'm gonna go along with all of this? So he's asking this from Beale. Now, this tells me that Beale comes to Rick with an offer that maybe Rick cannot refuse. Maybe this is where Rick gets involved in the CRM or the military side of things. And maybe the reason why he says, Why do you think I'm going to go along with all of this? Is because he knows what the CRM is doing is wrong and it's unethical. So maybe that's his dilemma right now at this point. And then we have this shot of Major General Beale with some sort of fencing, sword, or something like that. We have a CRM flag on what appears to be a coffin in the background, maybe a soldier who had just died, something like that. And this is the same place where we saw all of those soldiers a few moments ago. So it's the same location. And then we have this shot of Beale responding to Rick saying, Because everything will change. So he's basically trying to get Rick to trust him. I'm sure that he's going to have a pretty insane plan that he wants Rick to take care of. And I think one of the things that he might see in Rick is the sort of things he does to survive. And I'm assuming that Rick has lost his hand by this point, which means that he can see that Rick is not messing around and he will do anything to survive. So I'm definitely intrigued to see how their conversation goes and what Beale comes to Rick with and how that whole thing is going to go. And then we have this shot, not sure what to make of it. It looks like an abandoned farm or something pretty interesting. I wonder if those three that we see on the road are Michonne, the person she was with, and the walker pet that they have. Maybe this is where they stay for a few days or a few weeks. And then we have this shot of Michonne and the people that she's with. They're in that town that they were at, which we saw in the other trailer, where the helicopter dropped this type of mustard gas or something on the town, the CRM obviously being involved in that. And then we have this, which is connected. She yells scatter, and everyone kind of runs away. And that's when the helicopter drops the mustard gas. I'm not going to show that again here because we already talked about it in the other trailer breakdown. Then we have this awesome shot of the Civic Republic again, Philadelphia. We see a lot of windmills, which is cool, and the buildings outgrown by nature, which is pretty awesome. Obviously, the windmills we also saw in The Walking Dead World Beyond, so it's great that they kept the continuity of that and they're bringing that back and everything's kind of connecting. Then we have this shot, which is awesome. We see Jadis. She says, "We are the last light of the world." Now, this looks like a scene straight from World Beyond. So I wonder if they're going to reuse a scene or have a flashback or something, an extension of a scene that we already saw or something from World Beyond. That would be interesting. We know that they did say the second season of World Beyond will be important as far as plot lines. So it makes sense if they do something like that where they show flashbacks. And then we have this shot, and then he looks out at something. I wonder if this is like the people that brought Rick to the CRM the first time or something like that. But in the voiceover, Jada says, "You have to know that." Now, if we are to think that these two are connected, that means she's talking to this guy, maybe. That is interesting. I mean, the way she's speaking makes it seem like she senses that this guy is not aligned with what CRM is doing. And maybe she's trying to get him to get his priorities straight or something like that. Maybe he tries to do something that Jadis doesn't agree with, and maybe Jadis throws him under the bus or something. And then we have Michonne here talking to someone. She says, "This is not the answer. It must end." I don't know who she's talking to, but something tells me that she's talking to Jadis. I could be wrong, but I think she's just listening to Jadis and what she's saying about the CRM, and she obviously is not in line with how they operate and thinks that it must end. We have this pretty interesting shot of what appears to be some walkers in a closed off gate or something like that. We have this shot of Rick getting super angry. This is obviously at an apartment, maybe his apartment. In the voiceover, he's screaming, "This isn't everything. You don't get to choose for the world. You don't get to choose for me." I think he's telling that to Beale. And the way he's saying it, like the way he's yelling, makes me think that this is when Beale said, "You're not going back," or "You can't go back," or something like that, basically saying you can't go back to your family. But we see him throwing a chair here, and then we have Beale killing a walker. Pretty awesome to see Beale getting his hands dirty and killing a walker. Looks pretty awesome. Obviously, this looks like the same type of weapon that Rick was using at the calling center, or I should say, all the workers were using. So it's pretty cool to see that Beale also uses that. And then we have this shot of Rick looking up. He's obviously at the CR and he's looking at all of the buildings, the windmills, and he's just in awe of everything that's around him and surrounding him. So it will be cool to see Rick's reaction the first time he gets to the CR. We have this shot of him as well at the CR. It looks like there's even vehicles in the background. So it's going to be interesting to see how different the CR is to other communities we've seen, like Commonwealth or Alexandria or Hilltop. You know what I mean? But Rick is wearing his CRM jacket, which means he's still a worker at this point. We have this shot of Pearl telling Rick, "This is all I have left." So she's basically saying, "I have no other place to go. The CRM is the last place for me, is the only place for me." And of course, when you hear her saying this, you can hear the accent. She has a South African accent because she's going to be South African in the show. And then we have this shot of Rick looking at the camera. There is a red light, which I'm assuming is CRM helicopters, maybe. I think this is where they drop him off to kill those flaming walkers in the woods. And then he walks away, and we do see a few flashes in the background. So I wonder if those are the flaming walkers. But Pearl continues to say, "This is all you have left, too." So basically saying, "You are just like me. There's no other choice for either of us." We have this explosion going off and throwing a bunch of CRM soldiers around. We have this shot of Michonne next to this green truck. Now, the green truck is important. Keep that in mind. But she's surrounded by walkers. She gets out to kill the walkers. In the voiceover, Rick says she's not gone, referring to obviously Michonne. And then we have Michonne here saying there has to be a sacrifice. So I'm assuming that they're planning something and they know that someone might get hurt. And she's saying it's worth the risk. And then we have this shot of a car chase. We have Michonne in the green truck on the right and Jadis in the other car. So it looks like maybe Jadis is trying to get away and Michonne is chasing her. And it's pretty cool because they are approaching this one walker. Looks pretty cool visually. And then we have this shot of a lot of walkers in the woods. Some are flaming walkers. So I'm assuming this is where Rick goes to kill the walkers. We have this shot as well of that same scenario where Rick is killing the walkers with his hammer. We see the workers in the background and the lights in the background, so the helicopters are probably in the background. But we do see Rick's left hand here, which means he doesn't lose his hand until here. So I'm assuming that maybe Rick has to chop off his own hand to survive. Why might he do that? Because his hands are actually chained, because he's a prisoner or a worker. That was in another shot in another trailer, so I'm not going to show it again. But everything is definitely lining up as far as how far Rick is willing to go to survive. This cool shot of Michonne, this cool shot of her as well, looking at the herd. And obviously, we see an explosion. So she used that weapon that she's holding to fire a shot and cause that explosion. We see this shot of her taking out her katana. We have this shot of a walker being killed by Michonne's katana. And then this final shot of Michonne looking at someone. And then in the voiceover, Rick says, "It's a broken world, Michonne, but together." And then Michonne finishes it with, "We can do anything." Not much to say. That was self-explanatory, the dialogue. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through in this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.